In our modern world, we often mistake noise for strength. We celebrate the loudest voice, the most dramatic gesture, and the most visible display of power. But what if true strength isn't found in the spectacle? What if it resides in the quiet, in the unshakable calm of a soul anchored to its principles? This is the strength of the Stoic, a strength that history has often overlooked, especially when embodied by women. History, right? It's usually written by the big shots who lead armies and build empires, shouting their victories from the rooftops. But what about the everyday folks? You know, the ones who live their lives quietly but still shape the world in their own way. Their stories matter too, but Stoic women, by the very nature of their philosophy, didn't seek that kind of recognition. Their arena wasn't the battlefield or the Senate floor. It was the inner world of the self. Their victories weren't over others but over their own fears, impulses, and that pesky desire for external validation. This is why they often slipped through the cracks of our history books. Their power was one of silence, dignity, and self-command, qualities that don't lend themselves to grand, dramatic narratives. Today, we're diving deep into this hidden lineage of strength, a strength without noise. To really get what these women were all about, we need to first understand the Stoic definition of strength. It's not about physical prowess or social dominance. It's all about self-governance, mastering your own mind. The Stoics believed that true power lies in our ability to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. We can't control external events, the opinions of others, or the whims of fortune, but we can always control our response, our judgments, our intentions, and our actions. This is where virtue resides. For a Stoic, virtue is the sole good. It's an internal standard, a commitment to living in accordance with reason and nature, regardless of external rewards or punishments. This stands in stark contrast to our modern culture of validation seeking, where self-worth is often measured in likes, followers, and the approval of the crowd. The Stoic finds their worth within, in the integrity of their character. Strength, therefore, is the unwavering discipline to align your life with your highest values, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. Let's now shine a light on the women who lived this philosophy with breathtaking courage. First up, we meet Portia Catonis, daughter of the great Stoic statesman Cato the Younger and wife of Brutus, one of Caesar's assassins. Portia wasn't just a passive observer of the political turmoil that consumed Rome. She wanted to be a true partner to her husband, to share not just his home but the weight of his burdens. She thought, why not put myself to the test? So, she decided to push her limits and see just how strong she really was, all while keeping her secrets under wraps. It was a wild ride, and she was ready for whatever came next. One day, in secret, she took a small knife and inflicted a deep wound on her own thigh. Yeah, you heard that right. The resulting fever and pain were immense, yet she bore them in silence. When she recovered, she went to Brutus and revealed the wound, not as a cry for pity but as a demonstration of her resolve. She told him she wasn't just a companion for his bed and board, but a partner in his greatest trials. She had proven to herself that her mind could command her body, that she could withstand pain without complaint. This wasn't self-harm in a modern sense. It was a profound act of self-command, a testament to her inner endurance and loyalty to her principles. Brutus, seeing her strength, no longer hid his plans from her. Portia's strength was in her quiet fortitude, her resolve to be a worthy partner in a life of consequence. Next up is Aria Major, a name that totally pops in Stoic literature. She's known for this one amazing act of bravery that everyone just can't forget. Her story is seriously unforgettable. Her husband, Caecina Pettus, had been involved in a failed rebellion against the Emperor Claudius and was ordered to take his own life. Faced with this terrible command, Pettus hesitated. Death is a fearful thing, and his resolve wavered. Aria, seeing his hesitation, didn't scold or plead. Instead, she acted. She took the dagger from his hand and, without a moment's pause, plunged it into her own chest. As she pulled it out, she handed it back to her husband, uttering the immortal words, "Pete nan dolet." Petus, it does not hurt. What a statement. Of course, the physical wound hurt, but what she meant was that the act itself, done out of loyalty, love, and a refusal to live in disgrace, was not a source of suffering for her soul. Her action wasn't an embrace of death but an embrace of dignity. It was a final, powerful lesson to her husband on how a Stoic faces what must be faced not with fear but with calm resolve. Her courage wasn't loud or aggressive. It was a quiet, decisive action that spoke volumes about her inner freedom. She showed that the ultimate strength is to choose how one meets their fate, with virtue as the final guide. Our third example is Phania, the granddaughter of Aria. Phania lived under the tyrannical reign of the Emperor Domitian, a time when speaking truth was a dangerous act. Her husband, Helvidius Priscus, a fellow Stoic and a man of unbending integrity, was executed for his opposition to the emperor. After his death, a writer named Herennius Senecio wrote a biography celebrating Priscus's life. Phoenicia had provided Senecio with her husband's journals. Knowing the risk, as expected, Domitian was enraged. Senecio was executed, and Phoenicia was exiled. During her interrogation, she was asked if she had given the journals to the writer. She admitted it freely. She was asked if her husband knew. She said he did not. She took full responsibility, shielding her husband's memory and refusing to implicate anyone else. She could have lied. She could have pleaded for mercy. Instead, she chose integrity over safety. Fania endured exile with the same quiet dignity. She even managed to save her husband's biography, ensuring that his story of moral resistance would survive. Fania's strength wasn't in open rebellion but in her unwavering commitment to truth and loyalty. Under immense pressure, she didn't break. Her character was her fortress. She demonstrated that moral resistance isn't always a public protest. Sometimes, it's the quiet, resolute refusal to compromise one's values, even at great personal cost. These three women, Portia, Aria, and Fania, embodied the core practices of Stoicism in their daily lives. They practiced acceptance without passivity. They accepted their difficult circumstances, the political chaos, the imperial decrees, the personal tragedies, but they weren't passive victims. They actively chose how to respond, using the moment to express their virtue. They demonstrated courage without hostility. Their bravery wasn't directed at harming others but at upholding their principles. Aria's final act was a lesson in courage for her husband, not an act of aggression. Portia's self-inflicted wound was a private test of her own spirit. They showed discipline without bitterness. Fania could have grown bitter in exile, lamenting her fate. Instead, she focused on what she could do: preserve her husband's legacy. They all maintained a sense of purpose and dignity, refusing to let hardship poison their souls. And above all, they embodied loyalty to values over comfort. Each of them could have chosen an easier path by compromising their beliefs. But they understood that a life of comfort without integrity is a hollow existence. So how do these ancient principles apply to our lives today? Their power is timeless. In our own relationships and professional lives, we can cultivate the emotional resilience of a Stoic. When faced with conflict, criticism, or disappointment, we can choose to respond with reason and calm rather than reactive anger or despair. This is a form of leadership, whether at home or at work, the leadership of a steady, reliable presence. The example of these women teaches us the importance of setting boundaries with dignity. Fania's refusal to betray her values under interrogation is a powerful model for maintaining our own integrity. It's about knowing what you stand for and refusing to be swayed by pressure or the desire for approval. This builds an inner stability that no external event can shatter. Perhaps most importantly, they teach us that we can be strong without needing constant external approval. In an age of social media where worth is often quantified, the Stoic path offers a radical alternative. Find your validation within. Build a character so solid that you become your own source of strength. True confidence comes from knowing you can rely on yourself to act with virtue, no matter the circumstances. In conclusion, the legacy of these Stoic women is one of quiet authority. Their strength didn't need to announce itself. It was felt in their presence, in their choices, and in the unwavering quality of their character. They influenced history not through spectacle but through the profound impact of their moral example. They showed the world that the greatest power isn't the power to command others but the power to command oneself. Their lives are not just historical footnotes. They are a blueprint for inner mastery. They remind us that the most important work we will ever do is the work we do on ourselves, in the quiet, unseen chambers of our own minds. So I leave you with this reflection. What kind of strength are you building, the visible, which can be taken away in an instant, or the unshakable, which is yours forever? Thank you for watching.